once again. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, class. I would like to welcome you all, first of all, to this new session, that is speaking of 2023-2024. Cool? And to this, our course, speaking of EDU4216. That is Ideas and Institutions of Islamic Education. We don't normally say our names, but I think I'll do that today. My name is Dr. Mubarak Abu Bakr Saulawa. Majority of you are aware of who I am and what I teach. Most especially the fact that if you come from, you started as a UTME student, you must have passed through a course called EDU4216. Cool? That is philosophy of education. Yes, I will do it alongside Professor Bello A. Bello. As usual, we'll do it together with him. And this course called Ideas and Institutions of Islamic Education, as a way of introduction, we should note that it's not the same course that you went through in level 200. That is speaking of EDU2212, Islamic education. Go. I call it Islamic education there. That is a level 200. This is a different approach. Yes, a lot of things might actually look the same. The fact that we are all talking about the same religion. Go. Yes, but however, the approach is going to be entirely different from what you used to know it to be. I want to look at Islam and how it uses, or that is the rationale behind Islam as a religion, and also the rationale behind Islamic education, and how Islam uses its own institutions to actually educate the young, or to educate the entire public. You understand? So, as a way of introduction, we try to address like 5 or 6 questions. The whole course will revolve around 5 to 6 questions. The first of which is talking about what is Islam. We'll say a big deal, a whole lot about what is Islam. And then secondly, we'll also look at what is education. That is the second question. And the third question will be, what is Islamic education? After having defined what education is, then we'll now go ahead to define what is Islamic education. And the fourth question will now be, what is the rationale? What is the philosophy behind Islamic education? 4 questions. Cool? The fifth question will now be, what are the institutions of Islamic education and how do they actually impart knowledge of Islam? What are these institutions? Yes, these institutions, we are speaking of social institutions of the society. When I say social institution in a society, you know that if you do sociology, you know what I'm talking about. We are talking of the family, we are talking of economic institution, we're talking of political institution. We're also looking at educational institution, as well as legal institutions. These are what we call the social institutions of the society. So we're not approaching Islam from this dimension. This would address the question of what are the institutions of Islamic education and how do they actually impart the society. Do you understand? And then we go ahead to do the last part of the course to try to differentiate between Islamic and Western curricula. How do you know that this is a Western curriculum and this is an Islamic curriculum? What makes them different? And normally that is where Professor Bello A. Bello would come in. You do that together with him, and you also round up the course rather. Okay? So it's like out of 10 lectures, I'll take 8, and he takes 2. To address this last question. Okay? So these are the major questions that I'm giving you 6 questions now. These are the questions that we are going to address as far as this course is concerned. If you can address this question from now on, you're already ready for exam. Yes. You don't have to wait for any reading material. However, it's important that you try to follow the trend or how the class goes. Yes, some things look very obvious that yes, I can do this. You never know how deep the rabbit hole goes until you dare to enter. So that is why it's important that you try to attend. Don't just take it for granted, because I don't actually mind taking any attendance. I'll take this as an attendance. I don't have that time. This is level 400. Yes, I have ways of taking my attendance if I want to. If I want to, I have ways of doing that. But saying that, just let attendance go around. Everyone will write for others that I do not even hear. I will see like, let's say 20 people around. And when they bring back that attendance to you, you see like 100 students. And you'll be wondering, what is happening? So such kind of attendances are so fake. They don't really give true attendance of someone really coming to the classroom. So, now speaking of the first question, what is Islam? Like I said, as a way of still introduction, I would like to tell you that in this class, it is very, very important that you know Quran very well. Also, you also know some reasonable portion of the hadith of the Prophet, because those are your weapons. And at the same time, this is a discussion class. I don't really mind you actually giving me the whole of my course outline. But whatever I came to discuss, you discuss it, and I only help you to actually just as a way of discussing it or guiding you through the discussions. You understand? So please don't just be so passive. I prefer an active classroom. Because through active participation, that is when you can actually learn from each other. I've never said that I'm here to that. I'm here as someone who knows it all. But at least to some extent, I believe that I can guide you. So, which means that you are also you're also free to contribute. Don't just leave everything to me alone. If you do that, you are cheating yourself and you're also cheating others. After all, in Islam, we know that knowledge is for everyone. خيركم من علم القرآن. And at the same time, that خير الناس من ينفع الناس. So if you don't actually, if you think that I will hide this point until when I come to the exam, well, you're wasting your time. So that someone cannot come to me. Someone cannot come close to me. What are you doing? This is Islam for you. If you share it, you get the reward and you get the points at the same time. Double reward. So please don't hide knowledge for us here. And most importantly, I like to ask this question: if we have a hafiz in the classroom. Do you have a hafiz here? I'm talking about someone who has memorized the Quran from beginning to end. Yes, you have that, mashallah. We have what we call a crowned prince. Yes, it's a crowned prince whether you like it or not. Because that is how Allah will raise him. And yes, when we have such people, it also adds beauty to the classroom. Because sometimes I would want to go through the nooks and crannies of the Quran. And the best way to do that is to have a hafiz around. That is why even the imams or even the sheikhs, if they want to actually preach, is that there is an alarama by their side. Think about Sheikh Isa Al-Fantami. Despite the fact that he is a full hafiz, he still prefers to have Abba by his side. Isn't it? Yeah. Because it adds beauty to the presentation. So that is just the essence of having that, because actually we are going to delve into the Quran so deep. So now coming back, and lastly, as a modus operandi, I think someone called me. Who called me? You are the captain. Okay, you are the one that has been calling me. Well, you should know that in this classroom, I don't respect the school class captain. You understand? Yes, you might be qualified to actually be my captain here. But in this classroom, we have what I call the Amir and an Amira again. You understand? You must still be the one. Yes, it's a matter of shura. We'll come to that. But I don't actually appoint it immediately. But you should know that we are going to do that in some, let me say, like the 5th lecture of the classroom. Somewhere along the midway. Okay? I'm going to have an Amir in this classroom. And in doing that, I will first of all appoint a shura committee. That shura committee, he could be part of the shura committee. I will be the one to choose the shura committee. After choosing my shura committee, then the shura committee will come back to me with who they think should be their Amir. You understand? You all know the qualities of a leader in Islam. I don't have to tell you what to do there. So the shura will be the ones to take care of that for me. When they finish, they come back to me with 2 names. I'm not here to do a campaign or whatever. They will go there, interview their mates. They go as a committee and do what they know, do the needful. Because sometimes these names I give, wallahi, they go beyond this school. Majority of these Amirs, when they live here, you find out that they are truly Amirs. When they go for service, you see them actually being the actual, either the camp Amir or the camp Imam Amir, or they end up being Amirs in their respective states. Because I would truly somewhat guide you through that leadership. And before you know it, they become so grounded into the affairs of whatever we are doing. I've seen a lot of them, and I'm seeing how they are performing. I know what I'm talking about. So don't take it for granted. It's not just an ordinary captain we are making here. Okay? So now that is about that. Now coming back to our business, which is talking about what is Islam. I said I have the answers, but I don't want to give. I don't feel sharing my own first is actually going to help matters. But if you open up, you see how intelligent you are and how ready you are also to help, like I said. So what is Islam? Assuming this is, I'm someone who's just new to the religion, I want to actually be a Muslim. And I'm asking you the question, what is Islam? How can you respond to that kind of question? What would you say? If someone simply just asks you, meet you along the line, and he looks like not a non-Muslim, and is asking, what is Islam? What would you say? Let me see hands up so that I can be giving you numbers. We don't have Muslims around. No, let me know, because some people can actually disguise. I've seen areas where someone is coming to learn with us, as far as to the extent of going to Mecca to study in an Islamic school. Only that individual is not a Muslim. Just for him to come work for another religion, just to see how they can destroy Islam. You can imagine seeing a name, Abdul Masih. Abdul Masih. And this Abdul Masih is there busy telling us how mighty and high Jesus is against Prophet Muhammad. He wrote a book. This book I'm talking about is right in my hands. So I will not be surprised if there is a lot of people here are non-Muslims. But I want to still ask the question, what is Islam? Yes.
Islam is a monotheistic religion.
Monotheistic.
A monotheistic religion that is worshipping a single creator, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we say Islam is a total submission to Allah and the obedient to all His law and all His rules and regulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, Islam is a monotheistic religion. When you look at this word, not monotheistic, monotheistic. Monotheistic religion that is talking about total submission to the will of Allah and all His commandments in the Quran and the traditions of the Prophet. I think that is what you mean. Cool? Yeah, I like the way you put it. I will say more about that, but let me hear from others. I'm keeping tabs of that. What is Islam? Or has it spoken all your minds? Nobody wants to put it in his own way, in his own language. Nobody wants to be original. You know what that means, ba? To be original. This is how I view it. This is how I think it is. You are being what? Original. So you should be, don't say, what this guy has said it all. No, I want to say it the way I think it is. That makes you to be what? To be original. And that is very important in life. Talking about being yourself. Yes, who else is going to contribute? Someone is raising up his hand? Okay, two people. Okay, let me start with you. I saw your hand first. Okay. No.
That's to believe in Allah, His Prophet, His angel, and established by the faith of the Hajj.
Wow. Well, you see, this is why I'm telling you, it's very important that you speak up. Yes. By Allah, I have been teaching this course for how many years now? I think let's say 5 to, or let me say 6 to 7 years. But I've never seen someone approach it in this dimension. You understand? I've never had a student or seen someone, when asked this question, he approaches it the way he just did now. Yes, of course, we all know that it is there. The hadith is there. But no one has ever thought of bringing it in this actually fashion. They always look at the meaning of the word Islam and just simply tell you what Islam is. The most popular of which is a total submission to the will of Allah. Or someone will tell you that Islam is peace. You understand? However, the way he's putting it, he's bringing it up to a standard that, yes, he's giving up a true picture of what the religion is all about. Because when you come to this world, you are going to expect. What is expected of you is, first of all, An tashhadu Allah ilaha illallah. That is number one. What is talking about the monotheistic religion? That there is no God worthy of worship except Allah. That is the first one, which is the first speaker has spoken. It is a monotheistic religion. Talking about you believing or testifying that there is no any deity worthy of worship except Allah. Wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah. And again, what tu'minu bi rusulihi wa tuqima as-salah. And also establish prayer. Because this prayer is very, very important in Islam, such that, in fact, it is what differentiates you from other non-Muslims, such as Christians or Jews. They give charity, they do goodness, they do a lot of things, but they don't pray the way you do. That was what in a hadith the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Farq bain al-Islam wa bain al-Islam wa tarku salah. If you are not praying, you are no longer part of this religion. So Islam, this is Islam in what? In motion. Islam in motion. And you talked about what you also after praying, you fast. This fasting is so unique to Islam. When you come to Islam, you see that the Muslims are fasting at a particular year of at a particular month of the year. That is the 9th month of the year of every Islamic calendar. The Muslims will fast for a whole month. That is the month of Ramadan. That is Islam for you. Cool? So you should expect that. So if someone comes to ask you what Islam is, then they say, Islam is peace. No, it's beyond peace. Islam is beyond peace. And thirdly, you talked about going for Hajj. You see Muslims going there trooping in millions, going for Hajj every year. And also at one particular month of the year. That is the last month of the year, of the Islamic calendar. Cool? You see that? That is Islam for you. So when you come to Islam, you should expect that. This is the honor of the religion, given what it is for you. That's the Prophet Muhammad telling us what Islam is. Cool? And lastly, he said what? You pay zakat. In Islam, it's not allowed for you to just go and do what they call this capitalist system of production. You go and harness well and say, you are the only one that did it. No, it's not your own. In the first place, you should know that what Allah has given you can take. If you are a farmer, you can really attest to that. When you go to put a few things there, you bury a few things on in the ground. Are you really the one that is actually bringing it up? God is asking this question. Allah is asking you. Who? Antum and Sha'atum. Who? Amnaharun Mushu'un. Allah is asking you this. Do you really think you are not doing it? Simply by going there and applying fertilizer. Sometimes you can apply, you can do anything, you can do everything that you want to. But wallahi, if Allah wills, we send a single rain to wipe up everything in one day. To show that you are not the one actually in charge of that. So giving zakat is actually doing good for yourself. You're not helping anyone. Don't ever think that if you give zakat, you are helping God, or you're helping the religion. Well, you are helping yourself. Go. That's a khudh min amwalihim tuzakkihim ko wa tutahhirhum wa salli alayhim ko. Because it's for you, it's for your own good. You are simply giving a security to your wealth. Because if you look at it from even let me say a logical perspective or from a secular perspective, when you give out zakat, what happens? The people that you are giving that zakat to will first of all think you as their own. They will think you as their own. Meaning that this guy is really a good person. So whatever is his is also our own. So we regard his own wealth with all ourselves. We see people when they say, because they say whatever you try to touch his wealth, they say you're trying to destroy them. Cool? So by virtue of doing that, you're already giving security to your own wealth. But by keeping it to yourself and saying, "God, this, I'm only the one that did it. I know I'm the mastermind that did this, that did that." Go, just like the way Karuna did. Go, when they say, "Tagima ataka Allahu dar al-akhirah, wa tasna subaka min ad-dunya, wa ahsin kama ahsana Allahu ilayk." He said what? Qala inna ma utitu. That was the foolishness he did. That this whole thing, I had it because I have some knowledge. I'm very knowledgeable, I'm very smart. That was the kind of arrogance he showed. And Allah actually showed him his lesson. That was at a point in time, what happened? Go. Whatever he had, at a point in time, Allah just made it to sink in the ground, deep. There was just an earthquake that just swallowed him. And then the people that were actually in the beginning, actually admiring him, were like, God. So this is how this arrogance can actually lead someone to. So you give this zakat, which is part of Islam, is also what? Very important. That is part of that is Islam, for Islam giving you security for yourself. Go? So that is that. That is talking about Islam in motion. Now coming back to other definitions of Islam, what else can you think? Okay, yes, you wanted to speak, actually, you talk to? Yes.
Islam is a religion of right and responsibility, showing piety, goodness, and helping to one another.
A religion of responsibility, rights and responsibilities. Okay.
Everyone must know his right and responsibility, and anyone as a Muslim is commended to do good, to show piety, and to assist one another.
Yes, thank you very much. Before I come to you, let me say this before I forget. The fact that he used the word rights and responsibilities is very important. Islam actually holds you accountable for whatever you did. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ إِذْ قَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَاهُ, and vice versa. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَاهُ. And there is this one that Luqman, you take me to that verse. What? Hey, not that one. I'm just taking me to the place whereby whatever small, no matter how small something is, يَأْتِ بِهَا اللَّهُ Jabba. Naam. يَأْتِ بِهَا اللَّهُ. Now you should know that no matter how little something is, no matter how little a good deed is or a bad deed it is, definitely Allah will bring it forth on the day of reckoning, on the day of judgment. So which means that this is talking about your religion of responsibility. You should know that you are going to be held accountable for whatever you are doing now. Cool? That was why when people are talking about saying that how God is doing his things, it's like, how does he even see us? There are too many of us. Go? And he made mention of وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. That's note that he's more closer to you than this vein that is attached to yourself. Go? He said, إِذْ يَتَلَقَّى الْمُتَلَقِّيَانِ عَنِ الْيَمِينِ وَعَنِ الشِّمَالِ قَعِيدٍ مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. And you not say even a single word, except that there is an angel that is close to you and is putting down everything. That was why at the point in time Aisha radiallahu anha was passing by. Go. Aisha was passing by the Prophet, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she saw some of the Sahabas so distant and just enjoying themselves. Just someone was just talking, and she was like, please, just take it easy now. The people that are writing what you are writing, just let them just take it slowly. Because someone is there writing what you are doing. Just kind of bring it to the attention that, look, don't forget what is actually happening. Someone is recorded. Are you actually ready to come back for this? Will you be proud of what you're actually saying now? Go. That was what at a point in time the Prophet ﷺ just made a statement that Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khair aw liyasmut. That is responsibility. And a lot of people have come to notice that people that are so quiet, people that are not actually talkative, they don't actually talk too much, they are the most brilliant of the population. And in fact, there is even the saying by the Western educationists that empty vessels, they say empty vessels make the most noise. What they mean by saying this is that empty vessels make the most noise. Yes, if you look at it, let me say, just normally or ordinarily, when you have a vessel that is carrying something, and there's another one that is full of things inside, it's filled up. When you shake this one, you imagine they will be making noise. So, but the one that is filled up, you didn't even have that strength to actually make that noise with it. So also that is like even individuals, when you see someone making too much noise, his head is empty. You're not find a real stop that kind of individual. That is why Islam is a religion of what? Responsibility. Of course, it is telling you to do this thing. And it's talking about goodness, teaching you to do good morals. This is what we call makarimul akhlaq. To show you how important this is, Sheikh Ibn Hajar Al-Asqalani, in one of his books, that is Bulugh al-Maram, he had a chapter talking about makarimul akhlaq. A whole chapter teaching you how Islam actually is so grounded in morals. When you look through the works of Sheikh Imam Al-Ghazali too, he wrote a whole chapter talking about good conduct. That is in Ihya Ulumuddin. In Ihya Ulumuddin, Imam Ghazali talked so much about the good morals or good conduct. So, a lot of instances you find out that this is talking about how you should be good and how you should also know that what you are doing is actually being watched. And now, speaking of, I'm still yet to open my book. Have said enough about Islam? Someone wanted to speak and I didn't actually give. Yes, please, say your own. No, I'm listening. Yes. Yes. I like that one too, the way you put it. This name, this face. This face looks very familiar to me. Why did I know you? Yes, your face. Eh? Now? Yawwa, haba. I know this phase beyond the classroom. Okay, please stop. Islam means peace. Yes. I like this one. Even though sometimes I used to actually wave it off. But you can't take it away from Islam. Because the religion is just so rich. It's so profound. You just say that, sometimes if you just look around, the only thing you can say to yourself is that Alhamdulillah ala ni'matil Islam. Because as an intellectual, if you really understand Islam very well, you'll find out that no matter how deep you go, and no matter how rich you think you are in knowledge, Islam has a place for you. Speaking of, Islam means peace. From the word, he said salam, or salam rather, because the name is as-salam. That is from the attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the peace, the source of peace rather. And as such, people even in Islam say that as-salam alaikum. It's only through Islam that you find that. When you go through Islam, find out that it's only in that religion that everywhere you go, people are telling Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu alaikum. That is what? Because there is a kind of rationale behind that, a philosophy behind that. Because the Prophet ﷺ told us that if you really want to be living in peace, if you want to be living in harmony with one another, what did he say that? He said, Afshu salam, and you should spread the salam amongst yourself. That is part of it. Because sometimes, even if someone tries to do something back to you, or just come to him and say, Assalamu alaikum. Wallahi, if that means you have a 10, there's a 10 count, you have a 10 count degree of, let me say, something bad against you. You have destroyed like 8 of those ones. Only 2 will remain there. Because he said, if you say this salam, you will like one another. If you spread it more, you also what? Be loving one another. You will not feel ill about your own brother. That is the brotherhood that Islam is talking about. Or the ummah. So this is part of Islam. The one said this is peace. And so Allah in this dimension is calling our attention that yes, Islam of course means peace. Islam means peace in this dimension. However, sometimes the reason why I kind of wave it off is that some people just think that, most especially in the West, simply because the West is painting the Muslims or Islam in general as a religion of terrorism, as they say it. A religion that doesn't actually like peace. A religion that actually is causing fear in the heart minds of others. But they are only simply saying this because they are afraid that Islam is actually what? Encroaching. Islam is encroaching the West like a desert encroachment. Islam is engulfing them. Because whenever they find out that they really want something that is so peaceful to them, the only peace that they normally get is when they come to Islam. When you talk about these pop artists, these rock stars that find it difficult to actually align with life, some of them commit suicide because they don't find any meaning in this life at the end of the day. But when they come to Islam, they find out that they have a purpose. They have something to live for. And that something to live for is giving them what we call internal peace. So sometimes being at peace doesn't simply mean just living in harmony with others. you yourself from within, you need to be at peace. Because if your mind is in chaos, you can never be at peace. You have seen instances where people are actually suffering. People are actually in anguish. Yet these people are they have a lot of riches. You can imagine someone being a billionaire and is suffering from depression. Because there's an emptiness inside him. He doesn't have that peace, that inner peace. That thing that I call the good life. That is why I wrote my PhD on the good life. And that good life was actually looking at how you can find that internal peace. How you can be happy from within. Not just coming to look at things that just smile. Big smiles. Oh. Just smiling and showing your teeth to people that you have tattoo that they are so bright and that this, that. There's something called yakebo. There's different from diarrhea and yake. You just do yake and just do I know. Nothing is normal. Because deep inside there is too much chaos there. There's no peace there. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا and he's made mention that he affirmed that Allah but definitely yes. It is when you remind, or it is when you remember, or it is when you remember your Lord. It is when you think about your Creator deeply from that you actually want to get that peace of mind. When you do the remembrance of Allah. And this remembrance comes in a lot of ways in Islam, which we are going to explore that. Either through dhikr, or through this salam, this prayer. This salah rather. This prayer that you are establishing is also what? Remembering Allah. Because thinking about it itself is also what? Remembering Allah, that this is around so it's time for prayer. I really need to go and pray. If I don't pray, I don't feel okay. Your iman is building so good. Whenever you go to pray, you feel so at ease. But if you don't pray, you feel that something is just off the hook. You're not actually normal. You don't feel so okay. You feel insecure. Or as soon as you pray, just for that kind of peace that even if I die now, I'm just okay. But really, sometimes if you are sinning, if you are doing something wrong, deeply from within you feel that what I'm doing is actually not good actually. I have this thing that is kind of aching me from within. How can I stop it? You see someone smoking. He says that, why don't you stop this? He says that, you think I don't want to stop? I really want to stop, but I don't know how to stop it. It's such an addiction that I can't actually control. So, sometimes it's only through what remembrance of Allah that you can actually fight this thing. And making peace with God, or making peace with Allah, is simply what? Reconciling your bad deeds. After all, when he said that when you do this good at the end of the day, he said that it's getting back to you. So, in ahsantum li anfusikum. When asa'atum falaha. That if you do good, you're doing good for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you don't feel that goodness from within. You feel that, I'm okay now. I don't have any trouble. Like I was talking about giving zakat. When you give the zakat, you are giving it for yourself. Because as soon as you give the zakat, you yourself will feel you are relieved that you have already what? Given that which is right. Because the more you give, the better you would also become. The more secure you become. So that is speaking of that. Now, last person that wants to speak before I jump to the next. Come again. Now, humanity and tolerance. Wow, and this one is so scholarly. We need to write this one down, or you will guide us. You see, Islam means peace and harmony, humanity, peace and tolerance. Is defining Islam from 5 words. And yes, we can take that. But do you wish to take us through this definition? Or you want to leave me with the ta'lim? Or the ta'liq rather? You can do it for us, ba? The definition needs ta'liq. It needs commentary rather. You want to comment on this? Or you want to give your own? Okay, yes, please do that. Now? Yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing our attention to that. Yes. She's bringing our attention to that, the fact that this Islam is a universal religion in the first place. It is a universal religion, meaning that this religion doesn't actually belong to a particular region or country or a particular generation. Meaning that Islam did not actually just start from this generation of Prophet Muhammad. This is where we're headed. It is a religion of all generations. Meaning that all the prophets that came before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam were also what? Muslims. Even Jesus was a Muslim. Because Jesus actually what? Submitted his will to the will of Allah. He submitted to the will of Allah. The way that you apply the Father thing, whatever he said, that not my will but the will of the Father in the Bible, go. Meaning that whatever he is doing is actually what? The will of Allah. Yes, one of the reasons why I think they used to use the word father for him was simply because he was given birth to without a father. So his only father that he can actually lean on to call his own is God. Go. So that was why he was doing that not because God actually gave birth to him. You should get this right. Not because God gave birth to him, but simply because he wants to attach himself to a father. Because if he doesn't have a father, he will not be called what? A bastard. That is the implication. Go. A child without a father is what? Is a bastard. So to avoid that, the only way he can actually what? Because he came from God after all, yes. Go. But it was not in the form of as if the way they think it, and it's actually the Son of God. No. It's not the Son of God. Go. He said, لَقَدْ جِئْتُمْ شَيْئًا إِدَّا وَقَالُ اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا. Go. لَقَدْ جِئْتُمْ شَيْئًا إِدَّا تكاد السماوات والأرض تفطرن من وتنشق الأرض وتخر الجبال هدا أن دعوا للرحمن ولدا وما ينبغي للرحمن أن يتخذ ولدا. It doesn't befit him to actually have a son, because having a son is at the end of the day having an heir. If you have a son, you have what? You have an heir. You have someone who's actually going to replace you one day. Cool? But is Jesus actually going to replace Allah? There's no way. He can never do that. Because Allah is infinite. And after all, Allah or God cannot be in human flesh. Because being in human flesh, it makes you so weak. You become so vulnerable. That's why that symbol does now asfala safilin. It's because of that humanity of being in the body. Because without the body, you become so powerful. You become extremely powerful. That was why the angels and the jinns are so powerful. And the speed is too much. Well, just imagine how the jinns can move. And how the angels can also move. With the speed of light. But we, because of the flesh of the carrying, is making us so what? So vulnerable. We cannot actually travel that far. The only way we can travel through that instances is by using what they call the portals. Go, and those portals are sometimes, how do I put it? They are sometimes mythical. Go, but the fact that Jesus or Isa alayhi salam was in human flesh, there's no way he could be God. There was no way he could be God or the Son of God. Who is going to replace God one day, which is not possible. Because he said, Huwa al-awwal, wal-akhir, wal-zahir, wal-batin. This is the most authentic definition of God if you're looking for him. He's giving you who he is in one sentence. In a verse. That he is the first and he is the last. You should know that. And that last doesn't mean that after him there's going to be something else. There's not going to be anything again. He will still be there. Even beyond what? Infinity. And he said, وَالْآخِرُ وَالْظَاهِرُ. And it's also evident, obvious. Yes, we can't see him. Go? But it's obvious, it's evident everywhere. And we have seen instances where people try to see him. Like Moses alayhi salam. Go? But he cannot actually do that. So this is a bit digressing, talking about religion of all prophets. Go? And we are going to actually cap it up with this definition, or let me say with this verse, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was saying, Al-yawma akmaltu lakum dinakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-islam dinan. The name was given by God himself. That for this day, go, I have what? Perfected my religion for you, and I've also completed my favor upon you. Go. I've also completed my favor upon you. Go. And I've also chosen for you, which is the religion I'm going to accept. And I've chosen Islam for you as a religion. Which means that the religion of Islam is what is well founded. The name was not given by any human being, but by God himself. It is when you go deep inside, you find out that there are some other prophets that were actually asking their children. Like Prophet Yaqub was asking his children, go. إذ حضر يعقوب الموت إذ قال لبنيه ما تعبدون من بعدي وإله آبائك وإسحاق. You see, they are mentioning all the prophets there. And this is talking about Islam for you. So this is Islam in a nutshell. This is what I like the way the sister brought it to us. It is kind of summing up the equation for us. And when we come next, we're going to go into the other. At least we have treated one question now. What is Islam? When we come next, we're going to answer the question, what is education? But before then, I will throw to you a spoiler by one famous British scholar, the name of Margaret Mead. Margaret Mead said that my mother wanted me to have education, so she kept me out of school. Yeah, rhetoric indeed, right? And a bit perplexing. My mother wanted me to have education, so she kept me away from school. Keep this, I will meet next, inshallah. Any question before we round up? Any question? Any question? Margaret, me. Margaret Mead. So we'll meet next inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك